Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! Welcome back to the Grow Tent, everybody. We got a great episode for you today. We are going to be talking about what you need to do if your plant herms. This can happen anytime in the flowering stage. You could see it herm at the start of week 1 of flowering. You could see it herm at week 8 of flowering. Today we're going to be talking about what to look for, some of the causes of it, and what to do when it happens. And it's a different scenario whether it happens at the beginning of flower or whether it happens at the end of flower. We're going to talk about both of those situations today. So if you've had this problem in the past, if you're nervous about this problem happening in the future, this problem will happen to you. It's going to happen. Eventually, one of these times you will get a plant that herms. All right, so we're going to talk about that today. But first, as always, the intro, everybody. I know it's everybody's favorite part. If you don't like the intro, guys, skip right by it. We got to pay the bills, though. Guys, if you're looking to join a Patreon, we got the best Patreon in the game, baby. If you don't know about some of the benefits, you should probably go check it out and read about it. And because we got some awesome stuff we give away all the time on our Patreon, so make sure you check it out. The link to it is in the video description below. Just click the Patreon link. Guys, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, watch the full video, all that kind of cool stuff. Also, if you're looking for any kind of new light, new tent, new exhaust fan, pretty much anything you want for growing, make sure you give the people at Mars Hydro a little look. They provide excellent equipment at a fantastic price. I've been growing with Mars Hydro for probably 5 years now. They've been a sponsor of the channel, and I mean, you guys have all seen my gardens. Speaks for itself. What else we got? Oh yeah, code is WTTGT if you want an extra discount off. I almost forgot the most freaking important part. Code's WTTGT if you want an extra discount. All right, that's enough of the intro. Let's talk about herming. So what is herming? So herming is caused whenever the plant is being put through an unnecessary or unusual stress or stressors. So anytime we are harming the plant or stunting the plant, those are stressors. Whenever we overfeed, whenever we underfeed, whenever we give them too much light, whenever we give them not enough light, whenever we overwater them, whenever we don't water them enough. So these plants it's always about finding a balancing act on where the plant is the happiest at. Got like a crazy shadow happening here. Maybe turn off. Is that better? Now I got like a little bit better. Now I got a little bit of a shadow going this way, but I guess it'll work. So these plants is all about finding a balancing act. Generally, us as humans, we always are on the too much side. You know, too much water, too much food, too much light. And these are bad things. But you know, the reverse is true also, where it's not enough water, not enough food, not enough light. So these plants, it's all about finding a balancing act on what they actually want versus what we want to give them. But your biggest threat for a plant herming is going to be light leaks. Light leaks are your #1 reason why your plant will herm. And what you'll usually get is you'll get a plant on one side of the tent that herms and the rest of them don't. I always tell people, I'm like, well, look for a light leak on that side of a tent, whether it's from a piece of equipment or there's light getting in through your little vent, you know, air exchange windows at the bottom, which we've got videos on how to eliminate that light that comes in through there while still maintaining airflow. In one of our other videos, we've actually covered that subject. But somehow light is getting to that plant whenever it's supposed to be dark. Whenever you're growing indoor plants, their dark time is extremely important. If you have any kind of light source getting to your plant, it will cause them to herm, and then you will see nanosites, and we don't want to see nanosites or little pollen flower sites. Sometimes you just get the one little banana nanosite where it just looks like a little banana coming out of your bud, and that's no good. Those little nanosites contain pollen, and it's not the kind of pollen you want, because that pollen is damaged. The DNA of the pollen is damaged, and it will cause all future plants that come from those seeds to also be herms. So you don't want that. So what do you do if you start to see a nanner or a flower site open up? And if you want to see what those look like, you got plenty of other videos where I show you what they look like. Just type in making FIMS on my channel and you'll get a bunch of videos where I'm showing you how the process, I actually go through a different kind of process to get those female plants to produce pollen. But you can see what they look like. All right, so now that we've discovered nanners, or we've discovered pollen sites on our plants in flower, what are we going to do? All right, so there's going to be two different answers to this, and it's going to depend on when you are in flower and you find them. So let's say you're a good gardener, you're on top of your grow, you inspect your plants pretty regularly, like we've talked about in another video about how this can save your time and effort. It's week 2 of flower. We have noticed that there is pollen sites everywhere. I mean, they're all over the place. The plants have hermed. And generally, if you have this, it is because if you have pollen sites that pop up everywhere all at the same time on your female plant, generally it's because of the types of the seeds were made incorrectly. Because if you have a seed that was feminized incorrectly, this will generally happen with feminized seeds that aren't done correctly. If you have feminized seeds that aren't done correctly, the pollen sites pop up everywhere, usually around week 2 of flower, and I mean everywhere, not just a couple on the bottom. I mean they're everywhere. And if they're everywhere like that, and you're at the beginning of flower, the grow is over. I know a lot of people don't, they're like, oh no, you can't tell me that. A lot of people dislike whenever I tell them that they have to kill everything, but those plants are going to produce a ton of seeds, and they are all worthless seeds. So it's better to just kill the garden and then do a deep bleached solution clean in between it and start over, and don't use those same seeds that you used last time. So that's if you have pollen that pops up, pollen sites, nanners, everything that pops up everywhere. That's generally because of the seeds. And maybe you need to think about switching where you're getting your stuff from for future grows, because it'll probably happen again. All right, the next instance, let's say you don't have them pop up everywhere. You just have, let's say you have one plant that and generally they'll they'll pop up on the underside of the canopy, which is why when you're down there loud popping in week 2 of flower, you need to look for this kind of stuff. Let's say you have one plant that's doing it. There's a couple methods you can use to work with this, but I'm going to tell you the best one is to kill that plant. You can leave the rest of the garden up because you were vigilant, you caught this on time. Kill that plant. Kill it, because you can take the pollen sites off, but they are going to come back, because if they were already doing it, the damage has been done, versus whether it was light leaks or feed or water, whatever. It can just be in the plant's DNA sometimes. And nothing you can do about it, nothing you've done as a grower is going to switch that. So it's easier to just kill that. I know you're going to have this big, open, ugly spot in your canopy, and we don't like that. But I'm telling you right now, it is better for that to happen than for that one plant that you're trying to save to pollinate your whole grow and ruin your whole tent. So don't step over dollars to pick up pennies is one of my favorite sayings. And that is what you will be doing if you're trying to save that plant. Kill the troublemaker and let the rest flourish. I know you just lost, you had 4 plants. I just lost 25% of my yield. Yeah, but it's better than losing 80% of your yield because you left it in there and it pollinated the whole tent. And now all your buds are superseded like it used to be for us back in the day. And instead of just breaking up your buds and removing the stems, now you're pulling out stems and seeds. Like, that's what we used to do it back in the day. We just had we got our tray out and we'd sit there and then, I have my pile of shaky bud over here to go in the bowl. And then I have my pile of sticks and stems, or seeds and stems over here to the left that went into the trash. So that's, how it went back in the day. All right. So now that we've killed that plant, because we found it in the beginning of week flower, we can go on the rest of our grow. Make sure we check that side of the tent for any kind of light coming from equipment that we might see. What I do is I actually zip my head up in the tent, my head up in the tent. Whenever I have all the lights off in the room, whenever the plant is supposed to be in complete darkness, I walk in there, I unzip the tent, I put my head in it, and then I zip it back together. And then I just sit there for a minute and let my eyes adjust to the darkness. And then I just look to see if there's any kind of light sources. A lot of times, it could be your main light isn't shutting all the way off and the little LED diodes still have that little bit of a glow to them. Usually when that happens, it's not one plant, it's a bunch of plants that get it. Or it might be a piece of equipment that you didn't notice. It's like, oh, hey, there's a little bit of glowing red coming off that button or whatever. That kind of stuff will damage the plant and it will cause them to herm. Or, oh, hey, that humidifier I have in here has got a blue glow into the back of it where it's glowing out and it's disrupting the plant. That will damage your plant. So take that, tape it up, take it out of the tent, do whatever you got to do to get rid of it. All right, let's say you discover your herm site. We're in week 6 of flower. I'm like, oh man, I just discovered my first herm site. Now what do I do? And this situation is a little bit different. You only got 2-3 weeks left of your grow. Seeds don't grow that fast, and even if you do pollinate the your buds, let's say the pollen drops for one of them at the end of week 6 and pollinates the tent, who cares? It takes longer to grow seeds than that, and the majority of the bud has already been grown. So what I actually do is I just spray them with water whenever I find a site. Just spray it down with water. What that does is when you spray it down with water, it keeps all the pollen intact. All of it knocked down because pollen, I don't know if you guys have ever messed with it, whenever you pluck it, it goes poof, everywhere. So what it'll do is you'll just spray it with a little water bottle, grab it with your hands, and pluck it directly off, especially if you find it before it's opened. If you find it after it's open, you're still going to do the same procedure, but you haven't spread pollen around the tent because it's still enclosed in the nanner. So all we're going to do is a little water bottle, spray it down a little bit, remove it. And it's because the plant didn't herm till the end of flower. We only have a few weeks left, so it doesn't really matter. You can actually keep it. You don't have to kill anything. Just let it finish out, and you'll be just fine. So that's the way I handle it versus if it happens to the beginning of flower to all of the plants versus if it happens to the beginning of flower to one of the plants versus if it happens at the end of flower and the way I treat it and the way I solve it. I hope this tip helps you out, guys. I always have a ton of questions about people whenever they herm their plants because this is something that happens quite often to people because whenever you're new, you're going to mess some of these steps up or all of these steps up, and the plant herming is a huge, huge possibility of what will happen when that does. All right, guys, I hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of your weekend. I'm not sure if this is going to drop on Saturday or Sunday. It'll drop on one of the days, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic time. I'll see you guys next time. GT out. Later.